Why should people start using AI in their businesses?
Coming right out of the gate. So, I'm not sure if everybody should be using AI in the extent that people talk about it online. Right now, it seems like AI is the thing to use for everything. Now, if you Google right now AI Deloitte fail or fraud or whatever, there's going to be a couple of articles where Deloitte, the largest consulting company in the world, the one of the largest, gave reports to the government just a couple of months ago that were wrong because they were AI generated. Now, if you sell something for $500,000, you better make sure it's not wrong because you used AI. That's basically an untested technology for some features. I think right now where AI can be really useful is to support you in analyzing document big texts. It's useful in taking meeting notes and preparing analysis, right? If you sit with a client for 2 hours, I do this all the time, that's my job. I sit for 2 hours, 3 hours on one analysis call, and then I have a huge transcript. I can't take notes all the times. So I'm gonna feed this to my local AI and then, get an analysis back. This is where it really comes in handy. And things that do not require you to process numbers, do not require you to be accurate. But what it shouldn't be doing is replacing your creative brain. And what it shouldn't be doing is doing all your work. Right? That's not what it's for.
That was actually a great answer, and much better than all of those gurus on the internet that say like you can just everything can be done for you with AI. So that's great. And for people that don't know who you are, or how would you describe what you're doing and who you are helping?
Yeah, so I'm a software implementer. That means I configure business software for large companies. The software that I work with most of the time is called Oracle Cloud ERP. It's from Oracle, one of the largest providers in the world. And ERP systems stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Very unsexy, very not cool, very not anything that you would ever find on Instagram, right? That nobody really talks about it. It's so unsexy because it's basically the finance setup for all the large companies. Now, obviously that's confidential, but I work with some of the brands, some of your favorite brands that you definitely know, and they have certain requirements for finance processing, for inventory, for supply chain, for procurement. They have whole departments for all these things: cost accounting, supply chain planning, manufacturing. The whole way our world works is very complex right now. Tariffs and shipping and bidding processes and everything. So large companies heavily rely on software, and that needs to be configured correctly to their needs. That's what I'm doing. I am building some more sexy stuff on the side where I have smaller clients. When I say smaller clients, like 100 employees to 1,000, not Fortune 500 companies, where I work with artificial intelligence, workflow automations, system integrations, on-screen automations, like all these things that are a little bit more Instagrammable. But yeah, I work with enterprise software, basically.
Yeah, like that. I think that's pretty cool. Even on Instagram, it will not have as much traction as those people who are making $500 in 1 hour, but I think it's pretty cool. And how did you decide to be a business owner and go into this IT world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a wild story. So I used to be a physiotherapist, right? That's my actual profession. That's what I learned a couple of years ago. And back in the days, I was very, I don't know, I didn't even ever care about money. I'm from a family that's all in the medical space. I thought I might study medicine. My school grades weren't good enough for that because I was super lazy in school. So I ended up doing physiotherapy. I ended up doing this in university. But after 1 year of, you know, doing the job, I was like, God damn it, I just need to do something else. And I somehow got into sales because I was looking around. I was like, I want to make more money. Physiotherapists are incredibly underpaid in Germany. It's one of the worst paid professions at all. And I said, well, I want to make some money, but I have no experience that I can sell. And if everybody on the internet's like, oh, you can sell a coaching for people with back pain. Yes, you can. I actually thought about it, even started doing it a little bit, but I wasn't feeling that. I didn't want to do anything with health anymore. So I got into sales and did this for 2 years, kind of successfully, I would say. But the company went down, and then by accident, here in Cyprus, where I live, I met my current colleague. Basically, brought me into this world. Before that, I wouldn't even have thought that somebody with no coding experience, no university degree in IT, etc., could actually go into IT. I didn't think that was an option for me. But he was like, yeah, you can do it. I can't code. I'm like, what? So yeah, I decided to take the chance, and here I am, 3 years later.
Oh, that's great. And would you recommend other people that maybe are starting a business and are getting into the business world to get into software and IT?
So that's a good question. I would say yes and no. I think everybody should be familiar with basic concepts right now. If you are a online coach and you have, I don't know, maybe 2 salesmen and you have 1 assistant to do your bookkeeping and whatever, and you can't use Zapier yourself, and you rely on a technical partner to implement that for you, I think that doesn't make any sense. Because it's so easy to learn these tools, right? You don't need to code. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very straightforward for most things people want to accomplish. So I think everybody should be learning it. In terms of building a whole career, especially when it comes to enterprises, there's a lot to learn. You have to be super willing to learn a lot. I mean, a lot. So if you love learning, then IT might be good for you because it's a never-ending learning journey.
That's interesting. And I'm actually interested in learning in general, how to learn. And I'm curious, what are your strategies for learning and how to learn effectively?
That's a great question because I thought about it a lot in last year, and what I found. So I was never good at learning in school, etc. I super sucked. Now the only way that I ever learn anything is applying something. Now when you get technical knowledge, for example, I can't apply this all the time immediately for my clients. So what I found is the best thing for me is if you learn something, there has to be some output. That means it could be a workbook that you write down all the different steps, right, that you think through, but you need to write something down. There needs to be some output. You either create something, build an automation if you can, write an edit, and etc. With my enterprise software, that's usually not possible, but I'm a go ahead and write everything down, go through different configurations if I can, and have some output. Because otherwise, it's I know people are claiming that they work when they learn. I'm working on my business. I'm consuming a lot of coachings and courses. No, you're consuming. Right? There's no output of what you're actually doing. It can get to a point where it's like mental masturbation, if I may say so. And you feel like, oh yeah, I'm so productive. I'm learning so much. But what does really stick? You don't create anything.
Yeah. And when we are in these cool terms like mental masturbation and stuff, could you describe to people what is productivity hangover?
Yes, right. That's a term that I use a lot. I'm honestly not sure if that I can copyright that one because it's probably already somebody said it before. But I have ADHD. I struggled very much in school actually. Nowadays I kind of cultivated it, but I still fall into. I have super addictive personality, as anyone watching my videos will understand. So it's hard for me to do anything consistently. But what happens then is I have a day of hyper focus and I need to expect, and I'm super motivated. I'm going to bed, but I already need to understand the next day will probably be not so productive. I usually wake up super drained. I have no energy left. I probably burned all my dopamine the last day. and I need a day to, recover from
Yeah.
that. I know there's like two different schools. There's people who say, oh, you need to be every single day, you get up at the same time, you do your morning routine and everything. That never worked for me. That stuff never works for me.
Yeah. And you say you were never good in consistency, but you have actually 618 videos, your vlogs you're doing. So I think you're pretty like consistent with that. And how did you, with ADHD and all of the stuff, how did you manage to do that?
True. So that is my improvement process, basically documented. Because until 2 years ago or whatever, before I started these videos, I was basically not consistent with anything. And then I realized, oh, that's my biggest weakness in life, not being able to do things recurringly that do matter. Now, I said someday I want to be a content creator. I was not saying I want to be a content creator now and I need to build a business around it. That's not my intention. But my intention is to say, hey, it can't be that hard to do something consistently every single day forever, or at least for 1,000 days or whatever. Right? So it's basically just me trying to put this out every single day and proving that there's no reason why you can't do anything consistently, probably to myself, also to other people. But literally, I recorded one episode at 3 o'clock in the morning after not sleeping for basically 2 days in the airport in Bogota. I was putting my jacket over my head because it was so loud. It's so hard to understand me. I was just trying to do my voiceover, in the middle of the night. Another day, the dog got bit by a snake. We had to go. I was recording it somewhere at 2 o'clock in the car. It's like, no excuse to not post a video, except for didn't get uploaded, you got banned or whatever, but create something every single day. It's important for me. Now, that doesn't mean that I do that every day at 7 o'clock, or I do create the same type of video all the time or whatever, right? I'm just saying post once a day.
I think that's a good advice. To get back to the ADHD, did you think there are some benefits to it? Like some people are saying on the internet there's a lot of information and maybe even misinformation. So how was your journey in like business and life with ADHD?
As you say, there's a lot of information on the internet. Information at least is trying to sell you something. So I'm not sure how science-based some of the information is. I think for me, I struggled a lot in school. I got medication, kind of made me depressive though. So that's a great thing, probably. Yeah, after just leaving my home, leaving my friends, going somewhere, going some other place. Back in the days, I went to Spain to be a barkeeper and basically kite surf all day and whatever. And I just had less distractions. I had so much time and peace that I was able to kind of rewire my brain and understand how to work with myself. I think that's mainly the thing, right? If you sit in school, you don't really have the setting for this. So you might keep struggling because it's just so hard for somebody like me to sit 8 hours straight. I don't want to do it. Fuck this. I was very bad at it as well. And I would still be bad at it if I did this today. But luckily, we now live in a world where no matter if you have ADHD or you always want to travel or you don't want to socialize at all, basically everything is possible if you have to make money, hopefully remotely. Then you're so independent, you can go wherever you want, you can do whatever you want, you can design your life around the way that you like to work. Right? I like to sleep in. I don't like my alarm clock going off in the morning. So I decided for me to do that. I don't work before 9 o'clock ever, except for if I wake up by accident and I just want to do it. But I sleep every single day. That's what I like. That's how I work. So you can design your life around how you need it to be,
Yeah, that's I think that's pretty like good and real advice from those 9 hour, 5 a.m. morning routines that everybody is selling on the internet. So, yes, and that one question you said like you were in Spain and you were a bartender or something because, yes, that was one of the questions because I saw in your videos you're making drinks and I was like, he's good at it. I will ask him this. So what's the story behind that?
I went to Spain on a holiday with my family, and there was this one guy, crazy. I absolutely love him. Iñaki is his name. It's just such a personality. And they said, well, everybody is going to Australia. That's kind of, you know, why don't you come to Spain? You can work a little bit in my bar and make some money. I was making €5 an hour. What was a lot, even back in the days in Spain. What's €5 is not a much, right? Especially if we work the whole night. But hey, that's what we did. And I only did this for a couple of months, but I really wouldn't want to miss this time. And it also taught me, because you asked about learning, it also taught me a lot about learning. I was always the worst at learning any language. Worst language ever. I was the worst in every single English class that we had in school. I think till the 10th grade or whatever. Like I was super bad in English and super uncomfortable speaking it even on holidays or whatever. But when I went to Spain, I learned Spanish to a degree where I can have at least some kind of conversation. Now it's not that hard. You just need to be comfortable and start speaking it. Go start to random people. It's not that hard. And I also learned English because people ask me, hey, you speak English pretty well. Even if I speak to Americans, they don't always spot my accent. Yeah, you just gotta. It's very simple. It's applied knowledge, right? The thing that we had before. You can't learn if you don't do anything. You can sit in school for 12 years. There's a lot of people actually who learn French or Spanish in school for 4 years and they go to France and they can't even order a stupid baguette.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And for somebody who is learning French, it is very true. But also it depends on the teacher, and of course it depends on the one who is learning the language and if they are going to use it. For example, even this podcast I'm doing, it is kind of just I'm just training my English and I've learned so much and I've got so much more fluent the more I do this kind of stuff. So, yes, it is really about applied knowledge and about those just trial and fails and experimenting a lot. So that's most of it. And you said like you are talking to your clients and more, and I think that's one of the main things you do in your job. What are, for example, the advice you would give to a person that is just starting with clients to make their life easier and, for example, the mistakes you made that they can just not, that they don't need to make with working with clients?
Thing every and you can learn in pretty much every single job. I actually learned this in physiotherapy. I relearned it in sales. And luckily, when I became a consultant, I didn't have to relearn it because I already learned it twice. But you learn one thing, and that is the art of listening to the question, the answers on your questions, and ask more questions. You need to confirm that because that's all that a podcaster host does. The easiest way to understand this is if you ever went to a doctor, everybody all went to a doctor at some point, and you wait appointment 1 month. And then you go in and he shakes your hand and he's not even looking at you and he's like, yeah, so what's your thing? And he's still documenting something from another patient. And then you're like, well, I feel so tired for 4 months now. I'm really worried. Also, my stomach hurts a lot and I have this and that and blah, miss my alarm clock in the morning. It's like, yeah, you should drink more water. Maybe I write you a recipe for some medication. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right? Great. And that is the thing about basically all businesses, most businesses, at least where you interact with people. If you're not in e-commerce, you with people. Even in e-commerce, you will interact with your suppliers, etc. And it's actually heavily a relationship business. Every business out there is a relationship business. You need money in exchange for the value you deliver. So you will always need to communicate that value. And people do care about, but even more, they care about how you make them feel. Thing to understand. And you can only make people feel good if you're not that kind of doctor. You need a doctor where the patient feels heard and the patient feels like, oh, he's really getting it. He's really interested in me. And he's actually trying to help me out and understand my issues and then give me the best advice. So the advice he is going to give you, you can't judge it. You're not a doctor. You don't have any idea, right? But if he makes you feel good, you're going to come back. You're going to pay him again. And you trust his advice way more. He's the first doctor. Go to a second doctor to get a second piece of advice. Is you can't trust people like that do not master the art of listening. It's the same in consulting. It's the same in physiotherapy. It's the same as a doctor. It's the same for a salesman. Definitely, everything that you do in life is about listening and right questions.
Yeah, that's absolutely great advice. And would you say that's one of the skills that everyone who wants to start a business should learn, like this art of communication, or they are even more important or on the same level of importance other skills, for example, when somebody is trying to start a business or just get into the space?
Of all, being ask people the right questions is probably the most important skill because you will always be able to sell if you master that skill. Selling is important. You will also be able to market because now you know how to ask your past clients or people from the industry that you haven't even worked with about what they are looking for. You need to understand their specific world. You need to understand their problems. If you want to say, for example, I built AI automations for restaurants. If you have never run a restaurant, you need to admit you have no fucking idea what you're doing. So you need to go out, talk to people, really understand what they think is their problem, and then find a solution. What people do is think about, oh, this could be a solution for them. Then they call them, then they're trying to sell them on something. It's not how sales work. Maybe they have in the past, but they're not going to work like this anymore for the future and already not working anymore. You need to be good at listening. Pretty much nothing else.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand it. And I think it's especially the listening is really important part, and giving like all of your attention and focus to just one person can be really exhausting, but it's one of the most important skills you can learn, and even other people will greatly appreciate it, I think. And you said sales are not working anymore this way, that you call someone and this and that kind of this non-specific way. What do you think works now in sales?
Is the same that will always work is making your opposite party felt heard, understood, and cared about, right? In Germany, I'm not sure how to translate it, but it's gonna be kind of bad. But if you say something like, Every will rip you off. That's bad translation, but you will be ripped off either way. But please rip me off politely. No, make me feel like you actually care, like you'll have my best interest in mind, and then I'll be okay with being ripped off a little bit. Right? So that's the thing that we have in Germany or in my family. But I think that that's what it comes down to. It's always human relationships. We had a business, my oldest friend and I, where we sold tutoring services to you don't sell it to the students because students don't care. Or if they do, they're still not buying from you. So you need to sell to the mother. And way better at selling this than I was because he has a child. And he actually understood how it is to have a child, how this feeling is. So he could actually relate way more to the mothers that were so worried about the future and this and that and opportunities, and they want the best. I couldn't care less. I don't have a kid, right? But if when I was doing the sales, I was still driving at this emotional value, how the kids, and understanding that they will feel it and they will trust you immediately because now you're on the same vibration.
Yeah, I think that applies even to content, which is like those general human nature, or how can I say it, truth that just work, that making people feel like understood, heard, and that's what you build trust on those feelings, and how, as you said, how people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. So I think that's one of the main things. And one of my next question is, you said you're building these automations and implying these systems for businesses, and you're using like AI agents and stuff. What for your business or your side hustles, what is the most like useful automation that you've ever built using?
It depends. Depends. I'm gonna give you a kind of a vague answer. Let me start with one thing I did for our tutoring business, for example. If you're in sales and you still send out a PDF contract and your client needs to sign it, print it, sign it, and send it back, that sucks. Your business. Because you are adding friction to the sales process and for your closing rate. What you want is a frictionless process. AI, you don't need it for that, right? You can just use a simple automation. By the way, most things don't require you to use AI. It's just a simple automation. Set up something like DocuSign or Adobe Sign for digital signatures and send out the contracts this way. Now, you can build automation around this. I did that in, I think, a year ago. In some of my videos, you might actually see a walkthrough of that. I think we built it in Power Automate. So my colleague who did 2-3 sales calls a day for our tutoring business, while he also had, even he's self-employed as well as a salesman, so he had a bunch of shit to do. So sometimes he was doing it from the car, he was doing it from I don't know where, from work. So I gave him the phone so that he couldn't say that he needed to be in front of his computer, blah blah blah. He was very flexible. Open a form on the phone, type in the information from this call, and then just click send. It would send out the contract for digital signature. It would wait for the contract to be signed. It would send it back. It would download it, put it in a SharePoint folder. It would do all the things and basically onboard immediately. It was just making it so much easier, so much more frictionless for our clients. Because if you still sending out paper, you will hear something that needs to be printed. People will be like, my printer doesn't work. Oh, this, tomorrow we're going on vacations. Nobody ever after vacations, right? You need to be quick. So automations that allow you to process and reduce are great. This can be the same with AI. If you want to say, for example, I want to use AI in customer support. A great idea, because you can immediately respond to every single question. Companies still have deterministic automations for that, right? You send a ticket or a support question, and then you get an email saying, hey, we received your support question. In 24 hours, somebody will be back at you. If you don't get anything, that sucks. Information of any shape or form that makes the customer feel more engaged, feel more cared about, right? We're back to the same thing. It's the same thing everywhere. We can use automations to reduce friction, make people feel. These are the automations that are great, no matter if you use AI or just deterministic automations.
Yeah. That's you said like I think even your company here, Optimus Pro, I think it's called. I think side project software business is you're doing that AI is going to automate your process like this clients to 70 to 90%. And what do you think are those 10 to 30% that AI can't automate that you should and you need to do alone and just get the work done?
Probably AI can theoretically automate everything, but no company wants that. You will a single company alive that wants a fully autonomous chatbot with no human in the loop control that talks to your clients. Nobody wants. Why? Because companies understand they're in the relationship business. So you can automate certain steps. You can automate customer support queries, or there are questions about the product, questions about the delivery status or whatever. Like, people will not even realize they talk to an AI. But it's that now your customer support team, for example, or sales team or customer success is not doing work anymore. It's the opposite. They're supposed to focus even more on what actually matters. Is relationship building. Give your customer a call, man. Why are you not talking to your customers? Why are you not talking to your big suppliers? Right? These are the things that people then need to focus on. And AI can theoretically automate this, voice agents, chat agents, but regardless of social media, no company wants that.
So, yeah, that actually makes sense, and I never thought about it like no company wants a 100% automated AI business because from what can we heard all around the world is that that's going to happen is just losing their jobs because businesses want 100% automated businesses. But yes, that's not true. As I heard.
Yeah. So the point, I mean, I work in the industry. Yes, you hear IBM fired 5,000 people in HR and replaced them by a chatbot. The truth, and popular to say that, is IBM doesn't have money and don't want to pay. So they're like, for some reason. They a lot of job descriptions out there for open positions. So it's more shift right now in the work. Like, they don't want to replace a whole department with a chatbot. Again, nobody. If somebody can replace something, then please replace HR. I think that's HR stands for hardly relevant. I don't like the HR departments at all. But still, it's more of a farce right now. People are putting that out as the reason, but at the same time, they're hiring a bunch of people back because AI is not. It's not there like our companies make it seem, and I heavily on people, and will probably, because AI again is supposed to help you be more efficient. It's not supposed to replace the human aspect of it. Let's say, for example, content creators, the amount of creation with AI advice out there is crazy. And the thing, it's usually like big creators, 100,000 followers, and they're like, guys, I developed this chatbot and it creates a video script for you and everything. I sell it for $1,000. It's just a stupid GPT that they gave some doc, right? They need a way to monetize their brand. I understand. get where they are using that. They're not even using themselves. The video to promote that thing was not written by that thing because it sucks. It's not supposed to replace your creativity. It's not supposed to replace your idea finding process, your natural curiosity. That's not what artificial intelligence is good at. It has a lot of places where it can be used, but it can't be used to replace your creativity just yet.
Do you think it will ever get to that point? Because when we get into like creativity and what it is, we can define it as creating something new from the stuff you already have, kinda, we can say. And a lot of like people in the AI space are all having these dystopian scenarios about the world and everything. So I'm curious, like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, remember I read a book, oh, it's so old, I think over 10 years ago, about AI is going to kill everything. That was way before AI. Nobody was talking about AI then. It's only a topic for 2 or 3 years now. I was reading it back then, and he was saying that all jobs would go extinct and everything. I think every prediction that I can make about the future of creativity and art is going to be wrong because it's such a dynamic thing all over human history. But what I think is probably a very realistic trend is that people look for personalities and real personalities. And I'm predicting for the content creation niche, it's actually what you already see with big streamers, is build social networks around their content. Not meaning that you have your own community or whatever, but that iShowSpeed is sitting with Kai Cenat in the same room. And then they bring Kevin Hart. You know, these are real humans. You can see it, you can feel it, you have like okay, these guys are not perfect. I will kind of relate to them. All the created products right now are very, I mean, very is probably the better word. I think at some point people will just get tired of it and look for something more rough, more raw, more authentic. It's going to be in 10 years. Honestly, I can't make that prediction. But for right, I wouldn't fall for the trap of thinking that I should replace your brain. That's not what it's.
Agreed, and especially with those streamers, they are like relatable because on stream there is like only camera and you, and it's live. So even when you make some mistake, when you just stumble or something happens, you have it on camera, and people think, oh, that's a mistake. I should avoid that. But exactly this the stuff they are making mistakes about. And just those small moments, those are the moments that connect with the people the most. And that's one of the things like I try to when I'm consuming something, I try to just look at the deeper stuff and why is this connecting with me, why this is, for example, making me laugh, and I like absorb this. That is really interesting how we connect with other people, and that I think that in the future will be mostly like important, especially most of the people are focusing right now on the long form content and
Yeah, and you see it
all
in
this stuff.
well, Mr. Beast, best example. Mr. Beast is not just Mr. Beast, right? His whole friend group, and they're always doing cool stuff. His videos are mad entertaining because it's multiple real people, different personalities. This whole social network, friend, whatever. Right? The same with, for example, three car guys. How are they called? The Grand Tour. You know, these British guys that are doing like tours in different countries with cars. I think they're retired right now, but still, the playing to the eccentric personalities is what makes it so interesting. It's not like they're delivering value. All the social media advice, delivering no value, man. It's just entertainment. But it's mad entertaining because they are likable personalities that feel comfortable in front of the camera and they have this interesting dynamic that we are genetically wired to be interested in, because that's what brought us here, made us human, and we're still interested in that. We recognize a face out of millions and billions of faces. That's what we're good at. That's what was built to do. We remember names, right? We chit chat about other people. We gossip. Like, this is the stuff we want. And I think it will stay. I don't think it will change.
Yeah, and especially in the like AI age, and you said like it's really hard to predict anything. So I heard this quote, maybe it goes something like, we shouldn't focus on the stuff that's going to change and is changing rapidly. We should focus on the stuff that will not change, and that is that like connection and all of the stuff around it. With that value, especially it is especially how you define value, because yes, in most of everybody's content advice is like, yes, solve this, do this, this, and this. But for me, I define value as maybe even giving clarity, making someone laugh, and all of the stuff. That's the value, like, even I want to give on this podcast is not even to solve people's problems and give them tips about the topic, but maybe give them clarity about something, make them laugh, or just having to listen to a great talk that can be just about anything, just to listen to when you're going on a walk or anywhere, basically. That's how I try to define it and try to just go with it mostly. To that other stuff, do you seem like a pretty busy guy from your videos, working a lot, everything. Do you think something like work-life balance exists, or is it just a myth that everybody is talking about?
Work-life balance, one of my favorite words. What is that supposed to mean? Life balance is that you work and then I don't understand. I'm not sure if Leonardo da Vinci, for example, who's supposed to have worked a lot more than I do, thought of going to the pub and drinking as life, while he was creating life for him. You know, like, I think it's very unhealthy idea to think in this split, probably from the boomer generation, more of a boomer to millennial generation, where there's work, you just do like you're supposed to do your 9 to 5, do your work, and then go home and then spend some time with your family. All right. But I think it's way important to find something that you actually enjoy doing, and that to the clarity you need to have some kind of, it doesn't have to be a purpose. People talk about higher purpose and deep whatever, I don't know. Oh, like, there's so many businesses who build roads. I don't know if they, but I think they definitely have. We build roads. Build roads. You know, like, it's, I get up in the morning to build roads. That's what I do. I like it. And to we had this conversation your name in before he started. There's a lot of second names, family names that are derived from job descriptions. Half the German names are all job descriptions, because people were identified. This is the guy that builds roads, and you know, like, isn't this life, and work is not the. I do. I think it's exciting. And I was basically on retirement 2 years ago, if you want, so like a 3 to 6 months period where I wouldn't be doing shit. Because when I transitioned from my sales job, I was having maybe one call a day or something for many months. I had in my bank account. I wasn't doing anything. But it's the same like the most recent episode. Like, okay, you sold your company, you went to Europe, and then like, I want to do something cool. It's not like being in Europe is the both can be life. And that's why I think that to balance it, just supporting an old narrative that makes it hard for people to find their purpose or like their profession.
That's very true. And I think this work-life balance comes from this people who probably hated their jobs and had like a 9 to 5, and when they are going like home, they were like, yes, I'm going to just catch fish in the afternoon, and that is basically my life. That's my work-life balance, and they distill it. But now in today's age, we are learning that you don't need to do this thing that is like distill those two, because like for me even well, I don't want to say it or call it work, but for me like this podcasting and stuff, it's part of my life. It's what I love to do, and I will continue with doing, and it isn't something that, yeah, I'm going to get done with this and then my life can start. No, it's like a
Yeah.
part of it, you know?
Right. What better thing is there in life than finding something you want to do that eventually you can also get paid to do, and you just keep doing it? That's what it's all about. And you're delivering something, contributing something to society. So people are so focused right now on this. I hate individualism. I'm very individualist, I would say, but I hate it in terms of egocentrism. People seem to think like the whole world is revolving around them, and they are supposed to extract money from the marketplace. Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
Dubai and I'm gonna eat steak every day. What if you can make that happen with a snap of my finger? What a miserable life. You don't contribute. Call that life? I'm not sure how fulfilling it can be. For some people it can, but it's tempting. Content out there is for you to be pushed into that idea of taking instead of serving, because it's so brain. I need something for me, right? This, I need to survive, I need my Lamborghini and whatever. I think there's so many people out there who want a Lamborghini who never wanted a Lamborghini. It's like, I'm actually still in the fucking matrix. I'm being told I need a Lamborghini. Is it gonna make you happy? It wouldn't make me happy for sure, so I'm not it. But there's people, the Rolex and whatever. You haven't even been wearing watches before, bro. You don't like watches. Why are you wearing a Rolex? You've been told you need it for yourself to show luxury, but it's not coming from your desires or anything that you contribute to society. It's more of this I want, I need. And I think that's a big that I see in society, see in politics, that everybody's just thinking about themselves, maybe about their family, but that's it. And nobody's coming with the idea to actually serve, to bring some value.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Oh, I agree with that, but maybe kind of deep thought here. I need to think about it a little. Because most people, I think, are so just into themselves. Probably, maybe even because of the internet and the way we live in, the way and the generation we are in. Because most of the people are becoming pretty just pessimistic about the world. It's probably they have the mindset of, oh, this is going to end, this is going to be in this way and that way, so let me just, as you said, be egoistic and just have all of this stuff for me because I deserve this. I suffered a lot, I need to do this, I don't need to serve anybody. And it's really interesting to hear this, a new perspective, because nobody on the internet will tell you, oh, you need to serve. probably in some old books about business. Um, that's max, but everybody is like work for you. You don't need to do this or do that. Yeah, I think it's true because at the end of the day, when you will serve and you will just, even if you say it like that, bring value to people, other things will just set to the right place. At least that's how it was like with me and my content when it was finally like getting bigger for me.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's a lot of people who start content with the stick goal to say I want 10 followers or whatever, right? That's the most common thing in content, and probably every coach or most coaches will agree. It's like, why, why one follow you? You're not giving anything to them. Stop it, right? You just want something for yourself, and then even if people try to give value, and they still come from this place of I want something for myself, it's still feelable. And then the second thing is most people burn out. Like I don't think that 618 videos in a row and don't miss a single day. Very far from burning out. I like it. It's like my journal. And I actually had a call this week with one of my followers. I didn't know he was from Germany. Can you give me some advice on how it is to leave Germany and move to Cyprus and all this kind of crap? And I was like, why not? I like it. And I inspired one person. I inspired some more people, I guess. But I'm not, that's the thing. The burnout after 100, because you entered a creative market to make for yourself and extract money. You want followers for your ego. You want money to make a living. And it's possible. I think it's very hard to, and it can't be super fulfilling, I guess, long term.
Yeah.
That's probably why most people then end up becoming coaches, because they're looking for something, not to hate, right? But looking for something like, shit, man, I'm not delivering anything to my peers. I want to help people. Let's become a coach. It's the most forward way, right? And it's an easy way to monetize attention. But it might be because they, shit, I don't give anything. I need to give something.
Yeah, especially with the stuff that, yes, basically most creators go into this. I want to make this amount of money, I want to get this amount of views, but once they get there, I think there's some shift. I noticed everybody has this like absolutely religious transformation that they're helping people, they I don't know what they did
They
after
find Jesus, they
depression or
travel to
something,
Bali,
like
you know, like.
yes, exactly. They again have a
Right.
new religion, and just yes, that's what I noticed. And I think it comes from that yes, probably like this goal of being egoistic and all of that stuff wasn't the best one. And they are all of a sudden starting to help people and do just give value, became coaches, write books or something. So I think it comes from that. And that's why I like my journey, because most of those people had this like really big like video that popped up, for example, or something, and they got to like their like kind of fame in a really fast way, and then they have this realization. And for example, that's why I like my journey, because I have a really like slow burn. I've been doing this content creation thing for like 2 years now, and I haven't had much success. I tried everything, and basically now I find this podcast that I can just talk to people, get something from their wisdom, and share it with people, and give value and focus on the audience. That's kind of like my goal with here and in this. And when we are in this content creation, how do you take it as a business owner? Because you you take it as your journal, but are there some other stuff, for example?
Change my content creation this year. I mean, I'm not the one to give big advice, right? I have a couple of thousand followers on the different platforms. But I discovered I did a lot of short form videos last year. I honestly don't really like it. And to get me to do anything that I don't like is very hard. So what I discovered I did like, I started a new agency a couple of months ago, go more after smaller, medium size. I just recorded it. I created a bunch of YouTube videos that I haven't posted yet. I think I have 20 episodes or something. So I will probably do this soon and do more long form content like this here because I actually enjoy this more. Not sure if I'm just not articulate enough to get my ideas into 1 minute. But I think some things just explained in 1 minute. Like some of the tasks are very hard and to put in front of an audience that's young, looking for some dopamine spikes on some platform. You can definitely do it, but I, for myself, like to consume YouTube videos way more anyways. If I want to learn anything from it, connect on a way deeper level. So yeah, I'm gonna do this a little. I think that's where my content journey is gonna go. Speak on some events on AI and right, my business topics. But yeah, all in the context of I just want to share something. I always like to explain concepts, to share what I found. I just like it. Don't like is to do content or whatever. It would get probably a lot of views, but I don't care. I'm not. That's also the good thing. If you make money independently, I don't care. Source of income, man. I'm not depending on people to watch my video. I do not need to go down a route of stupidity and brain rot just to make people watch me. And maybe I will at some point because I like it, but I do not depend on it. And the same in everything with all the content creators. You talk to a lot of content creators, you're in this community, etc. You will find they are still stressed in followers and they're fucking stressed because everything depends on are people watching my newest video or not? So I need to cater to them. Can be fulfilling for sure, but it
True. Yes, I think this content creation journey can be much more fun and enjoyable when your like whole life doesn't depend on it. So, and that's what one of my question was, if you have like plans with content creation for like this year, and you said like yes, you are going to focus more on YouTube, which is great because eventually every like, content creator like me probably is going to start on YouTube because that's when for me and probably you to learn the most. I just consume most from that platform, and we are already an hour in. And one of my like last questions that's kind of not connected, but I love food. And what is one of the most like what's your favorite food on the Cyprus? Maybe some traditional or stuff.
that you need to find the most traditional place, or let's say the most traditional place, but one of the most traditional taverns in whatever you go to. For example, here in Paphos, where it's 7 St. George, or you could go to Agora, you could go to Hondros, and you want to order traditional Cypriot meze. And the great thing about meze is they bring you everything on the menu. So I'm not giving you an answer because it's not just one dish. They bring you literally everything. And for example, in 7 St. George, where I go once a week normally, they just don't stop. You need to say stop or they will keep bringing you. Awesome. I eat once a day and this is just brilliant. Other than that, they have some really nice dishes. Everybody's always doing barbecue here. It's basically soufla, like souvlaki, but big pieces of meat from a skewer. That's awesome. Kleftiko, oven roasted lamb. It's usually in there for, I don't know, 7 hours or whatever. Cyprus is an awesome place to eat. wonderful food.
Yeah, and what language is it? Like you're talking about is Greece or
I
something?
can't even speak a word of Greek. That's actually one of my side quests for this year. I always need to limit the side quests that I can take on. So this year I only have 2 or 3. It's learning Greek is on there, but nobody. I mean, if I tell my friends I'm gonna learn Greek, they're like, why? Everybody here speaks English. So yeah, you can English perfect place for vacations. I think they broke a new record for tourism in 2025 as well. Everybody's coming here right now, has the best or one of the best tax situations in Europe. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs here, a lot of businessmen, a lot of people coming from the UK, from Germany, from all kinds of different countries, coming here to do business, work remotely, to people, live a good life. It's like a Dubai if you still want and less glamour.
Like you convinced me. I'm probably going to Cyprus when I can. All of these foods I have wrote down. So thanks for the tips. I'm making notes here, so all of the like important stuff. So I needed to write it down too. And you said like you love Cyprus, even you when you got from back to Germany, like you were like you feel so productive here, and it's really hot in there. What do you think are the reasons people should at least go there? Except the food, of course. That's great.
Taxes in Cyprus, you pay like 15% to make it easy, right? Around 50 or less than 20%, definitely. What's in Germany, you pay over 50 if you're an entrepreneur and you're paying for your medical insurance and all this kind of crap. So first, Cyprus takes less money out of your pocket. The weather is great. We have such an amazing nature. I mean, Germany has nice nature as well, but you're not going to in the winter or autumn because it's raining all the time. It's dark. You don't get light. Every morning, everybody you talk to here in Cyprus is the same. Hey, man, when I wake up in the morning, I open my blindfolds and the sun right into my face. How can you hate this life? Yeah, that's it. The weather is awesome. People are nice. Taxes are low. You live at the sea. I can see from here. And it's
That's so cool. Yeah, that's really great. And as I live basically too in the like Central Europe, when I look out of the window, it is like snow everywhere. So yeah, but yeah, yeah, true. But yes, but I like my snow. I love like all of those sports like snowboard and stuff. So I'm not complaining at all. But like the sea must be a different like view. So yeah, and we are hour and 6 minutes in. So I think we can wrap it up here if you are like okay with it. And the last question mine is that I ask all that, that everybody here is what is the question you would like to answer or you wish would be here on this podcast or I would ask you but I didn't. And what is
by the
the
way,
answer?
that question is fabulous. I saw that on your other episodes. So I'm prepared and probably not talking like super much about it on my social. Should maybe create at least a YouTube video because it's a part of what many people are interested in is why did I move Germany away and how was that? It was very shoot and forget. I make decisions in a weird way where just something clicks and then I'm like, okay, let's do this. I was never in Cyprus before. I had not even visited it for vacations. I just quit my apartment and everything in Germany, said bye bye, I'm not gonna leave. And I booked a plane ticket here, not knowing any friends or anything. I knew I could get around with English and I knew I had some cash. And that's it. It was one of the best decisions ever because my life has improved drastically. I'm not promoting just Cyprus, but for me, I'm not the guy who needs his friend around him all the time. actually don't appreciate hanging out every day. So I did less distractions in my life. And like we started this podcast and everything, you can design the life that you want, make some money, put it, just do whatever you want. And I did what I wanted. I left the country. I met fabulous people here. Some of them actually through my content, some of them just normally socializing. I have a great life. I traveled the world last year, different countries, America, South America. I was in Bogota, Medellin, Florida. I was in Argentina. I was in Germany, but it's what I like. So I keep coming back to it. And yeah, overthink it as the last thing I want to say is I had a lot of stupid ideas in my brain at that time. I was worried, especially about my grandparents. They're all, I'm super gifted. I'm nearly 30 years old, but they are all still alive. This idea of, oh, when you move away, then you're not going to spend so much time with them. And then what if they get sick or if they die or whatever, and you're maybe going to regret that you moved to another country. I cannot explain to which my relationship with my grandparents has improved since I left Germany. It's wild. Before that, I moved 10 kilometers away and we were seeing each other every 2 or 3 months. Now we have at least 1 hour of phone conversation every single weekend for 2 or 3. Everything, if you just take the move and go back.
That's great. That's a great way to end it here. And I just wanted to thank you that you came here on this podcast, that you shared some really valuable stuff here and deep ideas that I really appreciate, and I appreciated having you here. And of course, thanks to the viewers for watching, and see you at the next one.